When it first happened, obviously devastated completely, because I was in acting anyway, and I'd only just got my actor card, ready to go, things like that. Plus, I was pregnant, so it was like the whole thing was just hell. So there was a lot of other things I had to deal with. Speech, yes, was a big issue, but like I say, because I was pregnant, there were other things that I had to think about as well. I would not be able to get a message out properly, speak properly, couldn't do anything. For nearly 5-6 years, I would say, after, I felt that I was just on a sort of parallel all the time. I felt that me was this person with a stroke, and there was me, how I was, and I was on a parallel kind of life going, and I couldn't kind of bring it together. And I just remember it took me about 5-6 years, and I was just looking out a window, and all of a sudden it felt as if something had just come together. Even now, yes. It seems to be getting better. Yes. And that's some of that is of my own doing. I have my own ideas of how all this will work, or I'll give this a go, or stuff and things like that. Mm-hmm. But it kind of obviously worked. Mm-hmm. Even now, people say, Tess, it seems to have changed even more. You've yes. kind of more get going, and you're more sort of, your speech is a lot more together, and you know. I started with the book because it was more like a travel thing, and I used to use not a diary, a dictaphone. Yes. That was right, because it was really important for me to get my message over and do what I wanted to say and things like that. And then when I was involved in City Lit, they were quite happy to help me to get the tapes, put them on paper. Yes. So that felt really good, and then it sort of went, oh yeah, let's try and put it into like a diary, and as in a book. Yes. So it's like a travel diary, and people yes. really liked that, because it wasn't just me, a person with aphasia, talking about how I've coped. It was about this big travel we yes. did all the way around Australia, yes. and how I dealt with my family, my son, my partner. I think maybe things were said to my family, but there wasn't much said to me. If you're talking about, did I want a kind of prognosis of how they thought these things would be, yes. I honestly think I would not have liked, not at my time, yes. because I think they gave me
focus on other things.
Because I was focusing on other things, but if I think back, it would have been, even though I was a strong kind of character, it could have really put me down, very down, very down. If someone had said to me, my recovery would not, like you say, wasn't very good, but yes. then if you then talked about what I would get back, yes. and if they had kind of given me a bit of a more of a downer kind of, wouldn't have really helped me at all. He said, no, your brain can only go, once it's been damaged, that's it. And I thought, well, you say what you want, and that was it. As far as they were concerned, my window was this, and I was going, well, I know, I think I'm doing all right here. I'm doing really quite well, actually. I've been doing, and that yes, sort of thing.
Yes. You've raised lots of issues there about being demoralised, potentially, by having predictions about things, happening very slowly, and about not necessarily being able to understand what the predictions mean, and them not being specific enough. And then we have to balance that with, what about those people that would be pleased to know that they were going to recover quickly? Yeah. So that's the issue, is how do we, when we know that some people are going to recover quickly, they do want to know, and they are going to be greatly encouraged. So it's how you balance those two things.